Hi, I'm Dr. Renee Hackney, and welcome to Parenting by Dr. Renee. Through my office, we have an 8-hour positive discipline class. It is a lot of time in class. It's a lot of listening and practice and homework. The very start of that class, we go over ways to avoid the discipline process, because by all means, if you can avoid getting into discipline exchanges with your children, all the better. The first way I tend to think of is giving children warnings. So often children are stuck in discipline moments because they didn't know what to expect or they were caught off guard by a transition time. So warnings, when you give them to your children, you want to use clear warnings, meaning real basic language, and mean the same amount of time with the same words every time. So when my girls were little, I must have said thousands of times, 5 more minutes, finish up. 1 more minute, do your last thing. Now, when I say 5 more minutes, finish up, I need to mean 5 minutes, even if they can't tell time yet. If sometimes I mean 2 minutes because I'm in a hurry, and sometimes I mean 20 minutes because I get distracted, I'm actually not helping anybody with my warning. And so it's consistent in your words and consistent in the amount of time. Another way to avoid all these discipline moments is to get really good about your schedules and your routines. Schedules mean children who have the same bedtime routines, same bedtime, same meal times, same time to transition for school, the same amount of time to get ready every morning. I know that takes a lot of effort for parents, but kids who have very specific and routine schedules tend to do better moving through the day, just as an overall. It's also the routine itself. So a lot of families are good with bedtime routines. You hear parents a lot saying, oh, we do the same thing every night. In our house, it was bath, jammies, teeth, story, bed. Bath, jammies, teeth, story, bed. Starting around 7, ending around 8:15. For years, that was the routine. The idea of that routine is it helps the kids to manage their behavior. They know what to expect. They know how to move through. It's kind of systematic. And you're building those habits toward getting ready for bed. As much as families are good about bedtime routines, so many parents wing it in the mornings. They're just kind of waking up at different times and the schedule's kind of erratic. And so the idea is if you can get your morning routine to be like your evening routine, wake up at the same time, shoot to leave at the same time, do the same thing in the same order every morning, kids are learning how to move through that. It's also, if you can, putting something good at the end of that routine. So at the end of the bedtime routine, we also often have stories that we're looking forward to reading together. And so you've got something for the kids to work towards, and you've got something that you can say, wow, if this isn't going well, we might not have enough time. In the morning, we just tend to rush them out the door at the end, and kids don't want to be out the door at the end, most of them. And so it might be building in a little 10 or 15 minutes to play with the dog or to play with Legos or to read your books. And the idea is it gives kids something to work towards. And if they're getting through the morning in a better way, then they have more time for that thing. Now, I know that's hard because what I'm saying is you need to get up a little earlier, but it may be helpful in your morning routine. Another way to avoid discipline entirely is to look at the logistics. So logistics are putting up a baby gate. If you can put up a baby gate and solve a discipline problem, oh my gosh, put up the baby gate. I had a mom who said every morning she wanted her kids to come down and put their shoes on by the front door and they could go back to playing. She just wanted to be sure their shoes were on before it was time to go. Wow, having to come down to the front door might be the problem. Logistics says put those shoes where the kids are playing or put those shoes at the breakfast table. And the rule now is we feed breakfast to people with shoes on. And you're moving that in your routine, but you're also just shifting the logistics so that you solve the problem. When you've got a repeat behavior or repeat time of day that's bad, logistics is one of the first things to look at. You know, what could we shift around? Could we put up a reminder at the door? In our house, when the girls were in elementary school, homework is not finished until it's in the bag and by the door. We put a little tape, painter's tape X, by the door, and that's where your backpack goes for each child. And so the idea is that's logistics. This is where your homework goes, needs to be in the bag and by the door to be complete. Another way to avoid discipline, and this isn't really fair because these are called active steps of discipline. It's giving kids choices and challenges and jobs. And so as much as these are discipline steps, I tend to think if you can think about them before you're in a discipline process, all the better. So children who need to get things cleaned up, the toys cleaned up, you might give them choices about starting with the red blocks or the blue blocks, or you might give them a choice about working together or by themselves. Challenges, you might make it a game of how many blocks can they carry over to the basket at one time, or can they clean up the blocks before you clean up the balls. Contribution is giving them a job title, and it's saying something like, you can be the shelf organizer, or you can be the doll baby dresser, and they're doing a job to get them into that cleaning up. You can also just make anything a game. There is a parenting book called Playful Parenting by Cone. It's all about how to make those times of the day, those transitions, the things that tend to need a bit of discipline, into games. Look at them in more playful ways. You can Google cleanup songs or preschool cleanup games. There's lots of them online, and that gives you a new way to help your children learn to clean up pretty often. You might replay positives. This is the idea that if I want my children to use walking feet at the pool, I might have them practice their walking feet on the way into the pool. Once an hour, our whole family might take a lap all around the pool where we're practicing our walking feet at the pool. That's replaying a positive. It's building in the behavior and getting some practice at the behavior. Another way to avoid discipline, avoid the running at the pool, is to give kids a pep talk. And when I give a pep talk, there's 4 parts. So the first is what's called an I need message, or the one goal. Today at the pool, I need walking feet. It's one thing you need them to do, not 6. You may is the choices. You may walk holding my hand. You can walk by yourself. You can walk between the big pool and the baby pool. 3 is consequence language. If anyone runs, they sit out on the towel for 10 minutes. You're letting them know what's going to happen, and now the practice or show me, let's walk around the edges of the pool so you can see where to stop. It's a lot of work. The unfortunate part is most parents rely on 1 and 3. I need walking feet, you run, you sit out. Kids need 2 and 4. You can do this, this, and this. You can even do this. Tell me, what are you going to do? Let's practice. That pep talk is getting kids to buy in. Right along the lines of pep talks, you might make deals with kids before they go in places. You might make lists of all the things they can do. It's just focusing on that wanted behavior. And the focus on the wanted behavior is what often gets us out of needing so much discipline. I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, I am on Facebook every Tuesday night from 10 to 11 p.m. at Parenting by Dr. Renee. You're welcome to ask parenting questions there. Thank you.